Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
A lot of baseball games starting in about half an hour. One-day game. Rockies surprising the Brewers 4-2 in the top of the seventh. Be good to catch up with Matt Eholt with the New York Post. Talk a variety of topics, and he's got a strong case for the Red Sox to keep rolling. He joins us on the Progressive Guest Line. You can follow him on X at Matt Eholt, E-H-A-L-T. Well, your reaction to LeBron going to Philly, and now they have the same odds to win the title as the Knicks at 9-1, win total 51.5. What'd you think of the surprising news today, sir?
Well, I'll admit that I thought it was going to be Cleveland or Miami. I mean, that's the way that all the the tea leaves have been reading. But to your point on the odds, I mean, it just seems an overreaction. This Philly team, for as much talent as they have, it's going to take so much time for these guys to figure out how to gel together. I mean, people have made the point that Jaylen Brown didn't like being, Robin to Tatum's Batman. What's he going to be now? He's going to be the third, the fourth option there. And just the thing with Philly is it feels like the same thing as last year. For as great as the talent is, can you tell me come second round, whenever that is, next May 14th, 3 p.m. Sunday, Knicks Sixers at the Garden, game one, Joel Embiid is going to be healthy and able to move out there. And I just don't understand believing that Joel Embiid, when you have the Knicks there at the same odds, who just showed what they can do, and realistically, the only team that's beaten the Knicks is the Pacers in the playoffs the last few years, right? And you're trusting that Embiid's going to be healthy. It just feels, I just feels a complete overreaction.
That's a great case, strong. And to your point, there's no way Embiid's going to last 4 rounds. If that's the case, 57 games in the last 2 years, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, you're again, like if you want to tell me 1 through 5, 1 through 6 right now, you think that maybe the Sixers have a better 5 than the Knicks? Sure, maybe it's the best 5 in the Eastern Conference, but we saw this year you need to be able to have depth. And again, when your top player, when you don't know if he can be healthy enough to be out there, the Sixers just do not have the necessary depth. And again, like it's hard to think that you're going to trust that team, which is going to have to learn on the fly. And there's going to be a lot of egos on that team. I mean, Maxey is sensational. Brown is very good. Obviously, LeBron is still sensational at his age. Edgecombe is developing into a great talent. So, I mean, their talent from 1 to 5, and then, they got the Alabama kid this year. They draft. They have Simmons. They do have some players, but again, like so much of their ceiling is tied to one guy who just can't stay healthy. And like 9-1, that seems way too rich for my liking.
All right, easy. Let's do some baseball here. You've been all over the Red Sox over the last couple of weeks. They were dead to rights. They fired Alex Cora. The Yankees woke them up with that 4-game sweep, and then they go and rattle off, 14 in a row, 15 in a row? Who's keeping score? But that ended with the doubleheader they had against the Orioles. Now, full disclosure, Matty boy, Paulie and I are betting Toronto tonight. We like Toronto with Savage on the mound. The Blue Jays have played the Red Sox pretty darn well at Fenway Park over the last couple of years. But I'm seeing the Red Sox at the moment 9-1 to win the American League. Is that a bet you'd be willing to make?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, the reason that I think I like the Red Sox, and this is more of a thing of evaluating them against the other teams that are within the league, right? So let's start with in the American League. Obviously, the Yankees are the favorite right now. My problem with the Yankees is, can you tell me that come October 4th, Aaron Judge is going to be healthy and he's going to be effective? You're getting mixed signals on his health. You're getting he's progressing, but he's not doing things. The other element here is Giancarlo Stanton. Who knows if he plays again? There is nothing concrete about this guy, and as you've seen when he tries running, this Yankee lineup cannot win playoff series, multiple. Maybe they could beat the Royals in the first round like that year. I'm kidding. The Royals won't be in the playoffs, but you know what I mean. They could beat the White Sox or the Guardians. They're probably not beating the Rays or the Red Sox. You then look at the Rays, and my problem with them is, okay, so they're next. I mean, they got 550 odds. They're hitting Cedric Mullins in the cleanup spot. I have a hard time believing a team that has Cedric Mullins hitting cleanup is going to be able to last in a playoff series. And the other thing here is when you look at the Red Sox, now, yes, I'll concede this point, The Red Sox offense is hard to believe in. They're on an epic heater. But when you look at the pitching that they have, right, Sonny Gray has been sensational. Now, we don't even know if Crochet is going to pitch. He comes back, maybe. Ranger Suarez, I know he's injured right now, but you're looking at what they're getting out of guys like Tolley is pitching really well. Even this guy, Bennett, that they've come, who seemingly has come out of nowhere. The depth the Red Sox have with some of these pitchers and what they are able to do, and then you combine on top of that, you look at their bullpen. They have a great bullpen with Chapman. They have Whitlock. They have some of these guys. Again, I'm not making the case that I think they are some sensational lockout, like oh my God. But if you're telling me the odds are getting the Yankees at plus 230 or the Red Sox at 9-1, I like that Red Sox value way better. Also because we've seen that the Red Sox can get in a home series with these teams and they don't know. They just swept the Yankees and Rays in 4-game series. You've seen that these teams sometimes don't know how to play at Fenway in a short series. And I'm just saying, if you give me my odds of do I like the Yankees at 230 or the Rays versus the Red Sox at 9-1, I kind of think Boston with their pitching. I just think the other odds are a little. It's too much for me.
All the money, Paulie and JJ Veasan, the Sports Betting Network. Matt Edholt, our guest from the New York Post on the Progressive Guest Line. The Giants win total over 7.5 is the most popular bet at multiple sports books. What do you think of the Giants this year?
I think that the Giants, if you ask me, I think that they're going to be a improved team. I think they're going to be better coached. I would take the under on the Giants this year, and it's kind of for two reasons. One, it's a tough schedule this year. If you look at it, they have some really tough games. And, I mean, again, coming out of the gate, they could easily be 0-2 with their start, especially, week 2, they're going to run to a buzzsaw with the Rams in that game. It's a tough schedule. The problem I have with the Giants and the reason I'm not fully believing is, and it's the same thing what I just said with Aaron Judge. Can you tell me how effective Malik Neighbors is going to be this year? Because when you look beyond Malik Neighbors at the rest of this Giants offense, hard to know if Scatterbo can stay healthy. You saw last year Jackson Dart missed time. Sure, you're buying into Isaiah Likely, but he's got to prove himself that he can be a week in, week out steady contributor. You look at the rest of that receiving room. Darius Slayton, Odell Beckham, Juju Smith-Schuster, Darnell Mooney. Who there is scaring an opposing defense? Now, if you can tell me Malik Neighbors is going to be his rookie year guy, but right now the evidence is against him that, you've had battling some injuries. He hasn't been as effective. And when you combine that with also the fact that the Giants are in a tough division where Philly is very good, Dallas has all the talent in the world, and if Commanders are healthy with Jaden Daniels, you can't just look at the Giants and say, like, for example, with the Patriots, where you can just say, well, they're going to beat the Jets and Dolphins 4 times, so they're at 4. Giants are in a division where they could go 1-5, 2-4, and you go like, hey, you know what? They did well. I think the Giants can have a good season. This is going to sound weird, but I think the Giants can have a good season winning 6 to 7 games, and it's a step forward in the right direction. I'm having a hard time with that schedule and the lack of playmakers they have, seeing the Giants at 8 to 9 wins. I think that's going to be the second year of Harbaugh where they get more top-end talent, maybe in the draft, some free agency. I have a hard time thinking this Giants roster right now is an 8 to 9 win team.
I think that's totally fair.
Yep.
Okay. The board is yours, Matty Halt. Favorite over-under right now, NFL. What is it?
So I'll tell you one that I'm going to go with the negative take here. One that I'm not really fully understanding this year, and maybe I'm missing something on here, and you guys can tell me, is the one that I'm confused about is the Lions at 10.5, because to me the under seems like the obvious play there. I do not buy this idea that the Detroit Lions are suddenly back to NFC powerhouse status. I don't see what they have done to offset the idea that they could not block for Jared Goff last year. And we see that when Jared Goff is not blocked, he's not the same quarterback. They play in a tough division. They have the Bears, they have the Packers, they even have the Vikings. None of those teams by any means are pushovers. They lost David Montgomery. I'm not saying that's a big like thing, but a lot of their offense was being able to go with him and Gibbs. We don't know if Isaiah Pacheco can stay healthy. I'm just not seeing this Detroit Lions turning back the clock 2 years. They just lost Terry and Arnold. That's not the easiest thing to replace. I know he's maybe not the world's greatest corner, but still, at this point, that's a loss. When you're playing in a division like that and you just had a year where they just did not have much go, they weren't able to, much did not go right for them. I'm just not seeing where this path where it's just like, oh, yeah, everything's going to be right. So I just really, to me, I think that the Lions under 10.5, I think that's a safe bet.
Okay. Well, it's a weak schedule, and I think that a lot of people are pointing to that as well. A lot of strong opinions. Great to meet you. Thanks for a few minutes, and we'll catch up with you soon. Appreciate the time.
All right. Thank you for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
You got it. All right. Well, JJ,
easy.
I'm with you, JJ, as I think that schedule's so easy. He made some.
I like Detroit. I didn't jump in because we had to get rid of him. We had to say goodbye, hit the break. But Paul, you and I betting the line over this year. It's a last place schedule. I'm skeptical of the Green Bay Packers going into the year for a couple of different reasons. I'm not getting on board with the Kyler Murray business. And the Lions may have missed their window to win a championship. That said, I think them putting that win total at 10.5 kind of tells you all you need to know. That's my feeling.
Yeah. Look at that stretch in the middle, too, of how many games. Jets, Carolina, Arizona, Miami, Minnesota at home. The Atlanta, Tennessee, Minnesota Giants stretch. He made a great case, though, with the Giants.
NFC South. Do you like the NFC South? Yeah. Giant point was good. Giants going to be a better team, and they're going under the total. Totally agree.
That was strong. Yep. We'll stick with the NFL up next. Some predictions and futures from JJ. Some incredible props I found. And I got to go after him for a guy that he was negative on yesterday. I think a player who has a big year coming up on Follow the Money. So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Almost there. Hall of Fame game, August 6th. Panthers, Cardinals. Total of 36.5. Carolina laying 1.5. Almost time for football. We'll also talk college with Tim Murray coming up in 10 minutes. So last few days we've been hitting the NFL pretty hard. Surprises, disappointments. Teams that are not getting enough attention in my mind. Denver. I'm with you on Denver. They're going to have a big year. And Webb calling the plays, and also Knicks will have a big year. Detroit, I still think Minnesota can be a threat and a playoff team because of the upgraded quarterback. Down on KC, down on Seattle, definitely down on the Bears. But a team, and what you said was fair for the most part yesterday on your tirade, which was very good. You cannot put that playoff loss on Herbert last year, because Greg Roman was so bad with the play calling. It was a Mickey Mouse operation. He had no time to throw. There was no creativity. No wide receivers could get open. And certainly Vrabel outcoached Roman and was X's and O's mismatch in that one. The Houston performance was terrible. With all the interceptions and the pick six, he's a big reason why they lost that game. But now you bring in McDaniel, and you're going with they signed 3 tight ends, and you had Gadsden, and you bring in Njoku and also Kolar. I want to see what this looks like creativity-wise, and it looks like a real NFL outfit and offense, and I am totally with you. And he's a polarizing quarterback. If he doesn't produce this year and have a big year and win a playoff game, then I'm out on Herbert, because now you went out and addressed the OC situation. You're going to look like a competent outfit. He has weapons. He needs to deliver. Get healthy with the O-line, fix the O-line, and he's got to have a big year, and I think they should go to the playoffs, but he's got to perform well in January.
Well, that's what this boils down to, Paulie. Listen, Justin Herbert's had big regular seasons for the Chargers. I actually think last year in the regular season can make the argument it was his best statistical year from this standpoint. Maybe there were other years where he put up more gaudy numbers. He didn't have his 2 tackles. So a lot of people were using that as an excuse in that game in January against New England. And yeah, Roman didn't necessarily do a good job and probably deserved to lose his job. But at the end of the day, you're the quarterback of the team. The game is close. Go make a play or two. He didn't make a play. Everything you detailed about the Chargers is so spot on. Paulie, they shouldn't just be a good team. They should be a legitimate Super Bowl team with the amount of talent that is on that roster. Jim Harbaugh coaching them.
Yep.
Mike McDaniel, perfectly suited to unlock some different elements within that team as far as creativity within the run game, as far as getting that next level of play out of Justin Herbert. If not now, then when for Herbert and the Chargers to go and, dare I say, win a couple of games in January? Like, this is not a good year for the Chargers if they go 11-6 and lose in the first round again. I'm sorry. Got to win a playoff game. Enough.
Yep. And I think he's in store for a big season, but he's way too low with his MVP number as well. Do you have a player who's in store for a breakout year, or also maybe someone who's going to fall on their face?
Breakout year's tough. I'll give you a guy to keep an eye on. I'm going to give you 2 second-year quarterbacks. Shuck with New Orleans, who I absolutely love.
Yep, you're big on the Saints.
I'm actually I'm scared how many people now are starting to really make my case for the Saints. You know who I like this year? I don't know if I like him enough to win the division because it's tough. Houston's defense is really good, although I have Stroud questions. I think this is going to be a big step forward for Cam Ward. Going year 1 to year 2, Dable got the most out of Daniel Jones a couple of years ago when he was the quarterback of the Giants. Dable doesn't have to be the head coach. Like, I think you're going to get a much better version of Cam Ward this year. And I have 2 teams that I cannot figure out at all. In the Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like, they are 2 teams that, to me, Paulie, you sit here and tell me they're 7-10 this year, I'm going to shrug my shoulders and say, yeah, sounds about right. You tell me either one of those teams goes 10-7, I'm going to shrug my shoulders. I'm going to say, yeah, sounds about right. But you want a team to fall flat on their face? I got one for you. I think the bottom falls out from Tampa Bay.
Oh.
Tampa Bay has been on a run where they've been relevant, competitive, in it for quite a while. They played terribly down a stretch. They lose Mike Evans to the San Francisco 49ers. Baker, who I love, played poorly over the last 7-8 games of the year, and I am not a Todd Bowles guy as the head coach. I think Tampa Bay, don't be surprised they're like 6-11 at the end of the year. Bowles is out, Baker is out, and that's a whole reset for the Bucs.
What's the good points? What's the issue with Jacksonville? If wide receivers, or because they had a great season. I remember what they did to go into Denver and kill them, and then I just thought the play calling was ridiculous to abandon the run against Buffalo in the playoff loss.
My issues with Jacksonville?
Yeah,
twofold. One, I don't trust their quarterback. I don't. I think he's way too up and down. I think you get good Trevor Lawrence, you get bad Trevor Lawrence. There's not a floor level of consistency. And he had some really, really good games down the stretch last year. So I got to give credit where credit is due. When they really needed him, final drive, Buffalo Bills goes and throws an interception. Kind of feel like that defense overachieved last year. Took advantage of a soft schedule. First-year head coach bump. Now, you look at that schedule right out of the gate. That's one, Paulie. They need to beat the Browns week 1. Because then at Denver,
yes.
I know they won there last year. You can't expect to win there again. At Cincy, home New England, Eagles, Texans. Paulie, that is a brutal stretch for the Jaguars going into their bye week.
Yep. And this is available at numerous spots. A source close to the team, with the team, has said get down on Watson to be the week 1 starter that they've already told him. You can bet that. And jump on that before it moves and gets crazy. So Houston, magic number 24, 18-1 since 2023 when they scored 24 points. Stroud has got to have a big season as well because he was so bad and you have to reevaluate and reassess everything. How bad he was in the playoffs. Should have been pulled in both games. And I argue they could have beat the Patriots if Ryans made the correct move at halftime and put Mills in there, who helped save the season when they had the winning streak when he was hurt. He has got to do a better job, and he cannot turn the ball over like he did last year. and had some horrible moments in the playoffs because that defense is sick and filthy, giving up only 16 a game.
Oh, I totally agree. He was awful in that Pittsburgh game, too.
Yes, he was.
That was one of my biggest bets of the year. I love the Texans every which way imaginable, and it was entirely too close for comfort, despite the fact the Steelers could not move the ball to save their lives. And listen, I think the Houston defense could have played a little better in the second-round game against New England. It was not their best, but they had no chance because of how pathetic C.J. Stroud was. And, yeah, like you look at top 5 players under the microscope, under the hot seat this year, you have a defense, let's be real, Paulie, that could be the best defense in the league.
Yep.
Houston's defense. Mm-hmm. You don't want to waste it. You're going to run into problems with the cap. You're not going to be able to keep everybody. This is the time now for C.J. Stroud to show, hey, I'm the guy in Houston or I'm not. And listen, I told you I had a week 1 bet for you.
Yes.
That I've already made.
Let's have it.
I am all over the Texans at home getting the point against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. All over it.
They give them a ton of problems. I'm with you.
They own them.
They do.
They own them.
They do.
They own them. And that defense will be healthy. They'll be rocking. They'll be flying all over the field. And you know this. Buffalo now is one of those teams everybody lines up to bet. Like, that's it. Like, because of Josh Allen, these lines, you get a little bit of a discount if you're betting the opponent because, you know, they gotta factor in the Josh Allen tax. I will be on Houston. When I have the Circus sign up, that'll be one of my 5 and hopefully gets me on my way to try to cash in that contest for the first time in my life.
Well, they got off to that horrible start last year and rallied to make the playoffs and did a great job. But you see why the win total, look at that schedule, JJ. Mercy. Buffalo, Cincinnati, Colts, Cowboys, Jacksonville, and London. You got to go to L.A., although they beat them last year. They got to go to the Chargers. That is tough to start once you get to mid-November.
Well, and that's why, Paulie, look at those totals. Look at those win totals for Houston, and look at the win total for Jacksonville. Jacksonville won a bunch of games last year. They had a win total at 8.5. Why? First-place schedule. Houston, not a first-place schedule, but not a whole lot of easy games. Not a whole lot of easy games. So AFC South had 2 teams in the postseason a year ago. Don't be counting on the AFC South to get multiple playoff teams again this year.
Yeah, excellent point. And looking at Jacksonville, you got to beat Cleveland at home week 1, at Denver, New England, at Cincinnati, Philly, Houston. Those 2 games are international games. Colts, Baltimore. That is tough, no doubt. That's a good find and a good observation. We'll talk college football coming up next. We just got done with SEC Media Days, American Athletic today. Some futures and also some strong opinions from guests from the podcast. Tim Murray coming up next on Follow the Money VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Good catching up with Tim Murray now. VSiN Weekend Morning Line, also VSiN Primetime College Football Betting Podcast. Check out the latest edition. Some good stuff in there, as always. And follow him on X. He joins us on the Progressive guest line, on vacation, enjoying the weather. Thanks for the time, my friend. So today in the SEC media poll, the media picked Oklahoma to finish 7th. But now you've had a couple guests on that think Oklahoma is going to do a lot better than that.
Yeah, Brett Ciancia, who has been a frequent guest of mine on the podcast and on the Saturday show, guys. He does Pick Six previews. He's very bullish on Oklahoma. He had them 6th in the nation. So not just 6th in the SEC, 6th in the country, which maybe is a bit aggressive. But, you know, he does his homework, and that's where he ranks them. You know, it's interesting, guys. I'm really curious about Oklahoma this year because a lot of production coming back defensively. And, you know, it's funny because I think back to a year ago, and I think we could do this with a couple of different quarterbacks, where you look at John Mateer and the buzz surrounding John Mateer last year and coming in with his offensive coordinator from Washington State. And it was like hey, he's going to hit it right away. He's going to win the Heisman Trophy. And there was a moment in time, guys, when John Mateer was down to 9-1 to win the Heisman a year ago after they beat Michigan. And then he deals with the hand injury and it all plays out. I actually am contemplating betting Mateer to win the Heisman this year. I haven't gotten there yet, but you have that early season game on the road in Ann Arbor that can really be a big time opportunity for him to make a statement there. And, second year in Arbuckle's system, a little more comfortable down there in Oklahoma, maybe not as much fanfare. It's funny because last year he was kind of the talk of the town, a lot of bettors intrigued by him. And now it's almost kind of out of sight, out of mind. So haven't bet it yet, but really have just thought about maybe placing a bet. I think DraftKings as of last week was as high as 28-1 on Mateer. But yeah, Oklahoma certainly to me is an intriguing team this year to make the playoff. And, look, they did make the playoff last year, whether they should or shouldn't have, but they did make the playoff last year. And I think Mateer, there's a little bit of, overlooking him heading into this year, in my opinion. His odds, guys, last year were shorter at this time than they are this year, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, it is. Who was your pick to win the SEC?
It's Georgia. And, it's similar, Paulie and JJ, is like, I look at this year, I think there's 7 teams. And now I didn't think Indiana was in that group last year. So, maybe last year was the outlier, or maybe we'll see. But I think there's 7 teams that can win the title. Notre Dame, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas. You look at, I think Miami's capable of it, Indiana, Oregon. I think that's the 7 that I look at to win the national championship. And, if you look around different sports books, and we're going to show you the odds, I think, from DraftKings, FanDuel has it at plus 320 for Georgia to win it. And, with Gunnar Stockton coming back, I think they have one of the best defenses in college football. Frazier in that backfield. The big question to me is going to be the wide receivers. Who's going to emerge there? They brought in a transfer from Georgia Tech that I think has got some upside. So I look at Georgia this year, and if they can click with a couple of wide receivers, guys, I think Georgia has the potential. And then you look at the schedule. They don't play Texas. They don't play Texas A&M. They don't play LSU. And I look at, for the Georgia Bulldogs this year, getting back to Atlanta is certainly very manageable for them. The cocktail party this year due to renovations in Jacksonville is going to be in Atlanta, so there's a bit of a leg up there. They do have to go to Tuscaloosa, which will be certainly a challenge. They do have to play Ole Miss on the road. But I look at this Georgia team, guys, and I think they're being slept on a little bit. I think they are, I don't want to say clear-cut, but I think they should be around closer to 2-1 as opposed to 3-1. So at plus 320, I think it's definitely worth a play. And once again, if you're sitting with a plus 320 bet on a team in the SEC championship, it gives you the flexibility to do a whole bunch of stuff there in that SEC championship game.
Okay, Timmy, you're doing this college football podcast, so you're talking to 10 zillion experts over the better part of the last few months. Who is the general consensus of a team that most of these quote-unquote experts are completely out on for this particular year? There's got to be one where, like, you have these guys and gals on where it's like, yeah, they're out on this team, they're out on that team. Who is the team they keep coming back to?
Well, I think, JJ, on a smaller level, I wouldn't say they're out on Texas, but I think the people that I've talked to have them probably more in that 7-8 range as opposed to maybe top 4. So that would be maybe the smaller answer. I think the bigger answer is going to be Alabama. There's a lot of questions about Alabama. Now, I will say this, Phil Steele, who we all read his preview magazine, he has Alabama as his number 1 surprise team of college football this year. So that's the beauty of this time of year, differing opinions. But I think to answer your question, JJ, of the people that we've talked to the most over the summer, the consensus from a Power 4 standpoint of teams that, not necessarily buying on this one, would be Alabama. A lot of questions there, but it has been interesting. Talking to Matt Grill of DraftKings Sportsbook, he had Texas rated 7th in the nation coming into this year. So I think there's just some questions there. Texas, obviously, week 2, we'll find out what they're made of. Hosting Ohio State. You look at that schedule as it's up on the screen right now. I mean, you've got a road game at Tennessee, home to Oklahoma. So a lot of curiosity there. And I'll give you one more, JJ, that I think has been people are kind of saying, I get the hype, but not there. we had, friend of your show, friend of ours, the Bear, Chris Felica. He likes under 8.5 wins for LSU, and also Brad Powers, not all the way there on LSU as well. So I guess that could be a team that, as we get closer, right, as we're about a month away from kickoff, I think we'll start hearing more about LSU. And I think, week 1, they play Clemson. Clemson's a little bit down. How do they perform in that week 1 game? So it's 3 SEC teams, I guess, that I'm mentioning here. But LSU, another team that maybe from the sharper mindset is not necessarily getting the same love as maybe your general better would on a team like LSU with all the pomp and circumstance surrounding Lane Kiffin going down to Baton Rouge.
We had Paul Stone on, and he picked Navy. And JJ and Will Hill talked to Phil Steele, and he picked Navy to make the playoff. What do you think of a group of 6 team that make the playoff at some big prices, long odds?
Yeah, I'll start with Navy real quickly. I mean, this is a program that I've been fortunate enough to be around when I lived in Maryland. I was on their broadcast team for 3 years, and you're always going to get from them. I was surprised, and there's a bunch of people that have been high on the mids this year. I mean, they lose their starting quarterback. They lose Eli Heidenreich, who goes to the NFL. They lose a defensive player to the NFL as well. So, the American this year is certainly very intriguing from, who's going to make it to the college football playoff. UTSA is a team that I think is intriguing. A lot of turnover in that conference when you look at who's left from a coaching standpoint. Looking at the Mountain West, I think New Mexico and UNLV, very appealing to me. New Mexico brings back a lot, brings back Eck for another year. His son will be their superstar on defense. Lane, their quarterback, is back. And then you look at UNLV. I mean, this is a program from the G6 standpoint, guys. We're going to find out a lot about UNLV right out of the chute here, because week 0, they play Memphis at home, short favorite there, and then they got to go on the road to the island and take on Hawaii. By Labor Day weekend, UNLV could be 2-0, sitting in a really good spot to potentially make a run. And they have I believe they host Cal in October, so they get an opportunity to host a Power 4 team at Allegiant Stadium. So, look, Dan Mullen, really good coach. Love what he's doing with UNLV. So I think that would be a team that I could potentially look at. I also think one other note here about the team to make the playoff from the G6 would be, if you are a believer in Boise State, why don't you wait until week 1 concludes? Because they play Oregon week 1. They're a 24-point underdog. If they were to lose that game, does that price get elevated a little bit more? So I think Boise State is the best team in the Pac-12 heading into this year. And I would say if you're looking to bet them, I would say wait and let them lose to Oregon, which they more than likely will do as a 24-point underdog. And then maybe you get a little bit of a discounted price there. But I think if I were to look at a bet for the G6, I would look at either UNLV, New Mexico, kind of determine who you think is better there, or Boise State after their week 1 game against Oregon.
All right. Excellent. Very good, my man. Thanks for coming on. Enjoy your time off. We'll see you soon.
All right, guys. Talk to you soon.
Excellent. Tim Murray on the Progressive Guest Line.
I feel comfortable after looking at Tim Murray with that background. I mean, my goodness, I want to be in the forest doing the show, Paul. Come on now. Next week, I could have given you the beach background, but I think my wife would divorce me and my mother would disown me if I said for the family vacation, I'm locked in for the next 4 hours, Monday to Friday. I don't think so. Wouldn't go so well.
Yeah, right. Locked. Excellent. NFL preseason only a couple weeks away. Smart money's already moving lines. Lock-in football special, just $175. Get it now before the price goes up next month. You get our NFL betting guide, the new Fantasy Life Fantasy Football Guide, over 425 player profiles, projections, and rankings to help you prep for your fantasy draft. Sign up now. Full VSiN Pro access across every sport through the Super Bowl, and the AI-powered prop projections and the real-time betting splits. VSiN.com/subscribe now. What we're betting coming up next in Pocket Straight Ahead.
On coke if his girlfriend was not.
These games are a burial, a blowout, a human lock. You can bet your children's unborn children's children on these games.
I was so good that whenever I bet, I could change the odds for every bookmaker in the country.
All right, a lot of games underway. We had one-day game, Colorado, big dog. They lead at Milwaukee 5-2 in the ninth. They're underway in Pittsburgh. Cubbies didn't score in the first. KC and Detroit underway. Likewise, Arizona and Washington. Our producer Luke saw the movie last night, gave Odyssey 8.5, and you'll want to be locked in Monday. Richard Roper on the show on Follow the Money, and he had a one-on-one sit-down with Christopher Nolan. Get his thoughts, and he was blown away by the picture. I just don't see, because also I'm even stronger on it that you didn't think much of Hail Mary, but to open 2-1.
It's not that Hail Mary was bad, Paulie. I don't want to make it seem like it was a bad film. As I'm losing my voice, maybe somewhere, somehow, the folks at Project Hail Mary just got to me right now, and they wanted me to actually choke so I wouldn't say anything negative about the movie. No, it was okay. It was solid. I thought Ryan Gosling was really good. It was another one of these movies that was entirely too long, though. Entirely too long. Like, Luke's giving Odyssey 8.5 out of 10. I'd give Project Hail Mary like a 6.5 out of 10. It was fine.
Okay.
It was fine.
Well, your reaction to Best Picture, where it's 8-1. So if I have to fade Digger, and that's or Dune 3, so be it. Everyone's in love with Nolan, and people can't wait to work with him. And he releases a blockbuster every 3 years. Anyways, it went from 2-1 to -160, and who knows how high it goes. Penn State over 8.5 wins. Giants under 7.5. A great market and a great case Paul Stone made yesterday at BetMGM. Three-way. Who will win more games, Notre Dame or Miami? Notre Dame -120. They play in mid-November. Notre Dame laying 7 in that game. Sixers under 51.5 wins. The big news today, and oh boy, they got them at a discount. I can't believe it. So according to reports, the Heat offered double the money, but LeBron goes 2 years, $8 million. And now they have moved to 9-1 to win the title, 2-1 to win the division, and plus 350 to win the East behind the Knicks. I think that's the second best team in the East, and you got to be miserable if you're Cleveland. Horrible job. They tried, according to reports, they wanted them to get Kyrie. Dallas wouldn't budge. You didn't trade Mobley. You couldn't move Allen. And the Harden trade looks worse by the day. And last week, as I said, two people told me this from Cleveland. One, 99.9% done deal he was going there. Number two, he would have bet his kid's life on it that he was going there.
Hope he didn't. Hope he didn't bet his kid's life on it.
But
nobody needs that.
No one needs that, right? But they're like 11-1 now to win the East. Oh, that's tough. From winning 64 games 2 years ago, and they lost in the second round in 5 games. Then you make the conference finals and get swept, and you get worse, and a lot of teams around you get better, and maybe Miami gets DeRozan. That's a tough offseason for the Cavs. But in any event, it's a work in progress, though, because there's only one ball, and for Jaylen Brown to say, I want to go to my own team, and now he's maybe the number 3 option on that team, it's going to take a while. And certainly Embiid is going to get hurt, as he's only played 57 games the last 2 years, under 51.5 wins, and I am with you on the Blue Jays, plus money against the Red Sox, where they've owned them. 23-9 at Fenway going back, including 5 of the last 6, and it always seems Vlad has some big games, and they get the bats going. I like you, Savage, today coming up at Fenway. Good luck, everyone.
Paulie, let's stay hot. These are the ones that are pending. Padres under 81.5 wins. I feel so good about that. Mason Miller is going to look very, very nice in Yankee pinstripes, hopefully within the next 2 weeks. Denver Broncos plus 220 to win the West. A lot of Charger conversation. Everyone bets Mahomes, Kelsey, Reed, and the Kansas City Chiefs. This Denver team is stout defensively. Peyton's a hell of a coach. They added Jalen Waddle. I think they're a little disrespected in the market.
Yep.
The other one that I love, the Steelers, under 8 wins. And I wish it was pending because Paulie Howard and John Jastrzemski are all over it. The Detroit Lions, sorry, Matty Hall, are going over 10.5 wins. It's going to be a bounce-back year in Motown. Now, as far as the plays on the baseball, on the dime for this Friday evening, it's a family play for Paulie Howard and John Jastrzemski. Toronto Blue Jays nailed the fact Toronto plays really well at Fenway Park. I don't trust the Red Sox bats against, and you on the fact. Guess what? Teams that have these crazy win streaks, usually a little bit of a lull right after that first one. So don't be surprised the Red Sox have a disappointing weekend against the underachieving Jays. 2 more for you. Seattle, Texas.
Yep.
Miller's been lights out for Seattle.
4-game set.
He's got a 2.55 ERA. Yet, it's even money. What does that tell you? The Seattle Mariners can't hit. I am taking the Texas Rangers. Last but not least, a lot of chatter about how good the Red Sox have been. Rightfully so. The Baltimore Orioles have gotten themselves back in a pennant race. They ended the win streak for the Red Sox the other day. I like the way they're playing. I think they'll score runs against an Atlanta pitching staff that leaves a lot to be desired. Give me the Orioles laying the 125 against Atlanta. So Blue Jays, plus money. Rangers, even money. Orioles, $1.25. Boy, Howard, away we go.
All right. I know you don't like run lines with the home teams, but I think Detroit puts it on Kansas City. Scooble's got great numbers against them, and they've owned them as well. 17-6 last 23. First 2 guys on in the bottom of the first. And to your point, Rogers 4-1 with a 1.69 in his last 8 for Baltimore. Winner Circle Proxy and VSiN are giving away 2 incredible prize packages that will put 2 lucky fans in the world's biggest football contest for free. One winner gets a $1,000 entry into Circa Survivor. Another one gets a $1,000 entry into Circa Million. Both winners get the full season Winner Circle Proxy service and a free month of VSiN Pro. Enter by Sunday, August 2nd for your chance to win. WinnerCircleProxy.com/VSiN to enter today. WinnerCircleProxy.com/VSiN. Yesterday, we did top 3 things to avoid and mistakes when visiting New York. Give me top 3 things to do. What's your top 3 things on your list?
Oh, wow. This is such a great question. I mean, there are countless things you can do in New York, but I want to give you you need to find a way to go and take the ferry. It doesn't even have to be the Staten Island ferry. They have these New York City ferries that run throughout Staten Island, Brooklyn, Manhattan. You get to ride the East River. You can get a drink on the ferry if you want to have a drink and sit up top and just get a sense of the skyline and the views.
Excellent.
Like, who needs to go to the top of the Empire State Building? Give me a cocktail. Let me sit on top of the ferry and ride on the water on a beautiful summer or fall day or whatever it might be. Now, don't do it when it's 20 degrees, but we are in the summertime. That is an absolute must if you're someone who's never been in New York and you want to get a sense and a vibe and a feel. The second thing you need to do, Paulie Howard, you got to get authentic, elite New York pizza. And to me, the spot to go to, we're going to assume you're hanging in Manhattan. Your day is going to be in Manhattan. John's on Bleecker. It's as good as it gets.
Yep.
Right down in the West Village. An absolute must. Just unreal. Brick oven, cold beer, great house salad. Phenomenal. A must-have. Go to John's at Bleecker.
How do you forget the sausage rolls? Come on.
You don't need the sausage rolls there. You could get one. You could go bounce around and get somewhere else.
Oh,
but at John's,
awesome. Okay.
Get the house salad, get the meatball parm, get the large pie, and thank me later.
All right.
The last thing you need to do, come on now, get on the 4 train, get your butt up to Yankee Stadium and see a baseball game. Come on, you know I got to give you a little Yankee baseball, of course.
All right, got to do it. I did the tour.
You don't seem thrilled with that list.
No, it's a good. No, I did that. Number 1, I did number 1. I did number 2. It would don't clip that, Luke. Doesn't sound good. It was awesome when I did you stop at the Brooklyn Bridge, then they drop you off at the Ground Zero Line 9/11 tour. I wasn't. I was shocked at the gift shop, a 9/11 gift shop. I mean,
let me tell you something, Paulie. Somebody that works down there at SNY, when you're down there that second week of September, it really hits.
Yeah.
It does. Here it hits home for me. Sorry to end the show on a down note,
but
powerful. I'm not going to not own a museum. I've heard it's incredible. I got to do it.
Yep, absolutely. And did John's as well. And we did it when we went to Foxwoods. Phenomenal. Other one at by Broadway, Times Square as well. Did he just rob a grand slam? Oh, what a job. They just took away a grand slam, Kansas City, although they basically were nobody out. So a sack fly there. Great to see you, JJ.
Still be a sack fly. But
yeah.
Bellinger just been a nice play, too. Paulie, this has been an absolute blast.
You're the man.
The Follow the Money crew, Luke, You, Mitchie, the best. Thanks for letting me hang. I appreciate it.
You got it. We'll catch up with you soon. Mitch back on Monday with Dustin. Richard Roper on the show Monday to talk the Odyssey. Dustin and Will Hill up next. Luke Jackson, more on the LeBron news and the in-play in Major League Baseball. Keep it here. Sirius XM Channel 158, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Have a good weekend.